Hey, Pastor Stan Lubeck here. This is workshop number 8, leading your group. You know, as a leader goes, so goes the group. As the leader, you are the most strategic tool in God's hands for bringing about change in people's lives. The example you set as a leader is more important than any curriculum that you might use. When it comes to leading a small group, there are 4 approaches, 4 leadership styles, and it goes from low to high control as I'm going to list them. So determine your leadership style of these 4 options, and I have some opinions on which ones are better. But the first is the laissez-faire, whatever, very laid back leadership style. Anything goes. I'm no better than anyone else, so I will try to please everyone. The second type of leadership style is democratic. What do you think? Take a vote on everything. The third is proactive. This is what we had in mind. How does that sound? It's called first draft leadership. You present the first draft, giving people a clear idea of where you would like to see the group go and be. Then you ask for and allow edits of the plan by the group. The fourth leadership style is the domineering, or I like to say the dictatorial leadership style, my way or the highway. Now, the dictator approach to leadership is there are times when each of these postures may be appropriate, including the dictatorial, depending upon the setting. A dictator has the potential to be very efficient because no one has to be consulted to get anything done. Just do it. Build the bridge, build the wall, build the dam. A platoon leader in combat and under attack must give orders without questioning, and there is no time for taking a vote, and lives depend on that. So the dictatorial approach is necessary at times of danger, at times of war. Taking charge and issuing commands is not all bad at all times. It is not the best for developing leaders and seeking shared ownership over the long haul within the church. I would suggest that you focus your leadership style on style 3, then style 2 as the best approach over time. Style 3 is the proactive, and it is good to start a group with this approach, setting the norms and the expectations for the group. Then as the group meets for a few weeks and takes more shared ownership for the group, a more democratic style, asking for input and feedback for improving the group experience, is the best leadership posture. I've heard that public school teachers are intentional about establishing discipline and expectations from the beginning of the school year. It's easier to give greater freedom as the semester progresses. If the teacher begins with loosey-goosey leadership, it's much more difficult to tighten things up later on. I think the biggest mistake small group leaders make is when they adopt leadership style number 1, the laissez-faire, whatever posture. You see, these new leaders give up control early on. They say things like, this is your group, so what would you like all of us to do? Whatever you want. I'm not the leader. I'm just here to facilitate some discussion, and I'm no better than anyone else here. I know that we're supposed to do the covenant, but, we're all adults, so we'll figure it out what is best for us as we go along. Sometimes this happens because of personal insecurity on the part of the leader. I don't want to come across too strong. I don't want to be heavy-handed or impose on anyone. But here's the problem. This gives up leadership to the most outspoken person in the group. The most forceful person may not be qualified to lead, or the most spiritual. So the first step in leading is to lead proactively. Don't be afraid to step out and set the pace for the group. Most people want to be led, so communicate what you would like to see happen in the group. Take charge and let the group know that you are willing to adjust things if need be as the group meets over time. The second important principle that I want to talk about in leading others is to clarify expectations. We talked earlier about how important it is to clarify expectations so that people know what they're committing to. But one of the marks of a healthy group is that it is safe, and people should know that they will be challenged spiritually. They should know how to define success. What does a win look like in our small group? How do we know when we have hit the target? Your job as a leader is to clarify the expectations of the group. It involves things like purpose and goals, requirements, attendance, homework, etc. You set the group norms. How we treat each other with respect and honor. Confidentiality. What gets shared in the group doesn't get shared outside of the group. Then there are group details. When we meet, what we do in the meeting, how we will handle refreshments and socials in a shared fashion where everybody is helping. So this is where we have a simple tool for helping everyone understand what the group is about and get everyone on the same page. We've talked about this before. It's the covenant tool. The covenant is an incredibly powerful tool. The primary purpose of the covenant is to, 1, clarify the purpose and expectation of group membership. 2, help people know what to expect, which takes away the fear factor of the unknown. Help everyone to know how to buy into the group and make a contribution to the success of the group. And then let's talk about modeling genuine love and respect for each other. This is very important for a couple of reasons. To lead people well, we have to connect emotionally. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. People want to know if you are a real person and if they can relate to you. So people are far more insecure than you and I would ever expect. So show genuine interest in each person. You know, leaders set the norms for the group. Small groups, much like families, leaders subconsciously set the norms for the group. So number 1, you are like the mom and dad in the small group, like the family you grew up in. You had a certain way of doing things. Squeeze toothpaste a certain way, toilet roll goes one direction, how to clean, what isn't clean. There were norms in your family for what you spent money on, what you didn't spend money on, how you took vacations and holidays, what the options were. Most family values, you simply went with the flow and never thought about it. Then you got married or had roommates and began to realize that there are other ways to live. You might have been shocked because you cannot believe how messy or neurotic your new roommate is. Number 2, your norms were inbred in your family. The chances are that your parents never talked about these norms. Your parents just modeled the norms for you and you followed without thinking. It's kind of like osmosis, it just happened. Small groups work much the same way. You see, you set the norm in more ways than you know. How you treat people will set the trajectory of how the group will treat one another. Your level of commitment will set the pace for others. Follow me as I follow Christ. How do you respond when someone in the group does something lame? People will look to you for your response. You set the pace. If you are sarcastic and critical of others, they will assume you talk about them in a critical, sarcastic manner when they are not around. So let's talk about how do you model genuine love and respect in a group. You set the pace for the group. How do you model these qualities? How are you inclusive? Do you include everyone in sharing, in prayer, in decisions, in conversation? Watch out for those on the fringe. Follow up on prayer requests and personal problems to see how you can serve. Be accepting, even when people are wrong. Watch out for sarcasm and put-downs in the group that can alienate people beyond what you know. Empower members to make their own decisions as they look to the Lord. You want them to become independently dependent upon Christ. Guard confidentiality. Have a no-gossip policy. And then be unshockable as the leaders. If somebody talks about an affair in their past or drugs or weight issues or marriage issues, you need to be unshockable. I tell people you need to look at your right toe and not respond. Remind people that we love you just as you are, but love you too much to leave you there. The goal is to help everyone become more like Christ over a period of time. So the next session is the 2 most important skills that you can have as a small group leader. You don't want to miss this workshop. So bye for now.